So, last night in Rochester, New York, doing basically what was a special night for AEW, and mostly it's a tribute to Brody Lee. One of the things that happened last night was the fact that when Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson came out, Cody, well, he came out separately. Oh, no, he came out, I think, with Lee Johnson. I have to go back and watch. But, yeah, Cody wasn't well received. He wasn't well received. And this is not the first time. Last week we saw the fact that he wasn't well received in Arthur Ashe Stadium. And we've seen this kind of, I guess you could say, we've seen this kind of like transparency occur even before he took a break a little bit to fulfill his hosting duties on the Go Big Show series on TBS. You know, we kind of seen this play out where the audience is turning against Rhodes, and not even his wife Brandy, as gorgeous as she is, I mean, who can deny that, is able to help, win the audience over. Not even the fact that he's now a proud papa as well has been, not even that's been able to win the fans over. And last night, Arn Anderson, did a promo where he basically said, look, the way you are right now, if somebody was to hijack you in a car, you would say, please take my car, don't hurt me. But if I was you, and this is coming straight from Arn Anderson, he said, if I was you, though, I would pull out my Glock, point it to the guy's head, blow his brains out, and then get back in the car and go. Because, he's not... Because basically what Arn Anderson is telling Cody is, hey, being the way you are, you're allowing yourself to get trampled. You're allowing yourself to get pushed around. You're allowing someone like Malachi Black to get into your head and beat you mentally and then physically. And what he's saying is you need to stop being that noble individual, and you need to be, this vicious, unforgiving son of a bitch. Excuse my language, God, but that's basically what he's telling him, in that promo. And then to close it out, he says, basically, I can't associate myself with losers. I only associate with winners. And he basically has Lee Johnson come with him because Lee Johnson's the one that won the match for him and Cody. So, what does this all mean? Well, obviously, it looks like we're finally going to be getting that one thing that we've been pretty much saying needs to be done, because if it gets done, you think AEW is making moolah now. You think they're making money now, through ticket sales and merchandise and all that. Imagine how much money they're going to make once Cody decides to finally go full heel. Because once he does that, ladies and gentlemen, like a lot of people have said, the money's going to come rolling in. And, honestly, the time is definitely now. I mean, you got plenty of baby faces on the roster, along with plenty of heels. One more heel ain't going to hurt anything. It's not going to unbalance anything. Because, again, you have plenty of baby faces to balance, to keep that balance in check. But the thing is with Cody is he needs to stop denying, the truth. He needs to stop playing up the fact that I'm a noble individual, I'm a good guy, I do the right thing. He needs to shove that down the toilet, flush it, set that toilet on fire, and put that side of him to rest. Because once he does, then the reaction he's getting right now that on screen and story is bothering him, like, why are you booing me? He will be willing to accept it. I mean, imagine what his first promo as a heel on the AEW roster is going to be like. Imagine what he's going to be able to say. Have a little bit more freedom. He'll be able to come out and say, I tried to be nice, but you booed me. So you know what? Guess what? I'll give you a reason to boo me. I'll give you a reason to hate me. And you can have him do all kinds of things to really, solidify the fact that now he's a no good SOB. You can have him, try to injure and put in the hospital Arn Anderson. You can try to have him hurt and injure Lee Johnson. You can try to have him turn against his own brother, Dustin Rhodes. You can have him do all this. And it would work. It would click. I mean, if you constantly try to keep him as a babyface going into the potential rematch with Malachi at Full Gear in Minnesota at the Target Center, then on that night, you ain't going to have people cheering for Cody, from the top of the rafters to the bottom of the floor. No. You're going to have people causing a double turn to happen a la Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13. That's what you're going to have. And you know what? You will have no one to blame but yourself, that being AEW, and Cody would have to take responsibility of that as well, because what? You're waiting for that moment? No, the time to strike is now. The time to strike is now, and you do it in a way to where even if he starts to do something heinous and unforgivable, that Malachi himself comes out and says, hey, that's way too far, dude, and thus you turn Malachi babyface. It makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. And on top of that, you have that one heelish thing that could really put him over the top as being hated and disdained more so than, let's say, Kenny Omega right now. Which, it's hard to say because Kenny's got his own fan base, but you put him against Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, yeah, he's going to be one of the more hated guys on the roster and in the company. But imagine how much more hated Cody would be if you allow him to do that one thing. That one thing that obviously he can flaunt as having power to do. You can have him resend in his first promo as a heel, maybe after he hurts Arn Anderson or does whatever that causes maybe even Malachi Black to come out and say, hey, that's enough. Imagine that first heel promo where he says, hey, I tried to be a good guy, you wanted to boo me, so guess what, I gave you a reason to boo me, and I'll give you even more of a reason to boo me and hate me. And then that's when you have him announce that he's going to rescind, he's going to void, he's going to nullify the stipulation that prevents him from competing for the world title. And then what you do is you have him make the announcement after he comes out and says, you know what, I'm going to give you another reason to really hate me. I hereby rescind, I hereby nullify, and I hereby void the stipulation that prevents me from competing for the world title. And thus, because I could do so, I am hereby letting whoever is going to win the world title match at Full Gear that I am challenging them on the following Dynamite. And there you go. Or you have them say, I'm, challenging them to Winter's Coming 2, for the title at Winter's Coming 2. Or Winter's Coming Once Again, whatever they're going to call it. You have him do that, and that would be the most heelish, one of the most heelish things he could do besides maybe beating down on Arn or Lee or his own brother. To the point that you have Malachi come out and try to stop him. Because that way, what you're doing is you're solidifying him, and he, along with you, AEW, is solidifying himself as the new top heel. To the point that he's even letting his fellow heel in Kenny Omega, the world champ, know, hey, if you get by whoever you're going to beat, or whoever he's going to face at Full Gear, it looks like it's going to be Bryan Danielson if Hangman Page isn't, available. It's like, if he, basically you'd be having him telling Kenny Omega, hey, I'm going to face, if you get by, if he gets by whoever he faces, that he's going to face him either on the following Dynamite or at the next Winter's Coming event at the end of the year to get his championship, to finally become world champion. And you know what happens? And you know what happens when you go that route? You turn basically Kenny Omega, who right now is one of the more despised heels or egotistical heels you have. You turn him into a babyface. Even if you have him still associated with the Super Click, Super Elite, you turn him into a babyface because now you have somebody that's going to do something that he would never do. You could have Kenny come out and say, look, I would have never done this. I would have accepted the fact that, hey, even if I can't compete for the world title, I'm still the best. I'm still the best wrestler in the world. You have Kenny come out and tell Cody that if, let's say, Kenny retains at Full Gear, and Cody makes the announcement before Full Gear that he's going to do this, you have Kenny come out and say, hey, I might be egotistical and I might be, an SOB that people love to hate, but at least I don't go back on my word. And you know what? You do it that way, and in that title defense between Omega and Rhodes, you turn him into a natural babyface by default. You see, there's so much. So you see what a lot of people are saying here is you got so much opportunity, right at your fingertips, AEW, that all you have to do is pull the trigger. And now that Tony Khan is the one that's taking most of the responsibility about what's going on, booking wise and creatively, with a few bit of advisement here and there, the time couldn't be better. You have Cody reacting to the fans going against him. You have what I'm trying to say is you have Cody, reacting to the fans going against him. The time couldn't be better to pull the trigger and go the heel route. Because again, you have everything at your fingertips. You have him being able to flaunt his power that he has to where he can rescind the stipulation and then hereby challenge the winner of the world title match at Full Gear at the following Dynamite or at the Winter's Coming Once Again event or whatever they're going to call it. And then maybe even add his own stipulation that would ensure he becomes champion. I mean, what more do you need? What more motivation? I'm trying to say, what more motivation do you need than all of that to finally pull the trigger? So obviously, after last night, after the week before, and the weeks that preceded it, even during when he was gone for a while, or at least for a couple of weeks, during all that time, you have the fans turning on him. You have him now reacting to it. It's throwing him off. The time couldn't be better. And like I said, you could solidify the heel turn, not just by having him rescind the stipulation that he can't compete for the world title, but you can solidify it by having him attack Anderson, Lee, Dustin, and do it to a point that even Malachi comes out and says, that's even more than I can handle, and I'm going to, basically then you have Malachi, what I'm trying to say, you have Malachi come out for the save, basically declaring that, hey, I might be dark and mysterious, but that's even more than I can handle what you're doing. Basically with Cody, beating up and hurting Anderson and all that. Not only do you turn Malachi face, which is what the fans want, but you solidify the double turn right then and there before you get to the rematch at Full Gear. And then the story that could be told by the commentators like Excalibur, JR, Tony, that being Tony Schiavone, the storyline you can have them commentate on is, by saying that when this started, Cody was, the hero, the beloved, babyface, or the beloved guy who thought the fans were behind him, but slowly over time the fans turned on him in favor of Malachi. It'd be great storytelling building up to the match. So, to me, after last night, and even the weeks prior, I, along with everybody else, is in agreement. Now, Tony Khan, now's the time. Pull the trigger, turn him heel, and in a way, by doing so, do the double turn, do what you have to do. Because you have a gold mine at your fingertips, my friend. You have a gold mine at your fingertips. But what do you guys think? Do you think the time is now? Do you think it's time for the trigger to be pulled? Or do you think maybe they should just continue to build upon this and then wait until the right time to do it? Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Check out my Teespring store. Check me out at Vimeo at BW Roses. Check me out on Patreon at Brian Walmer BW Roses. Also check me out on BW's discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. But again, let me know what your thoughts are. Or do you think the time is now? Or do you think they should let it percolate for a little longer? Comment down below. Live chat during the premiere. And I'm out.